what you're looking here is that we had to deal with two projects in the recent years. One, the reconstruction after the 2010 earthquake in Chile, where the problem was too much water, a tsunami destroying cities along the Chilean coast. The other one is a project for a city in the driest desert in the world, in Atacama, for the copper mining industry, where people rioting could be seen as a social tsunami, threatening the country's main source of income. So in both cases, the water was the problem, too much in one case, too little in the other one, and in both cases, trees were the solution. In the case of Constitución, for the reconstruction after the earthquake, against geographical threats, we proposed geographical answers. A forest able to dissipate the energy of waves to protect the city against future tsunamis. In the case of Calama in the north, we are proposing to expand the oasis to the entire city to domesticate a very extreme environment. In order to come up with these ideas and have the entire city agree that this was the right thing to do, we made a very intense process of democratic participation. In that sense, the very theme of this Biennale, common ground.
In the beginning, it's quite complex to arrive to a place where there is a lot of suffering and a lot of problems of housing distracted, people without basic services. Some of them have a very strong resistance to the participation process, but at the same time they start to understand the restrictions and start to work with it in the proposals. Our hypothesis of what we should do in the reconstruction process was was changing during the process of participation, because there were a lot of demands that the people transmit us that makes us to change the design as well.
And this combination of big social, urban, environmental challenges discussed with the people give the title to this exhibition, The Magnet and the Bomb. We do believe cities are big and powerful vehicles to create wealth, to attract opportunities, development, knowledge. And simultaneously, since cities are shortcuts towards equality because they can upgrade quality of life in a very efficient way, they are potentially devices to dismantle the social time bombs, the social pressure that cities tend to accumulate. And this double condition is what we're presenting in these two urban scale projects that use design at its very core.
Within the projects that are showcased here, I was in charge of the team working on the public buildings of the city, and yeah, basically designing all the public buildings and infrastructure of the city.
Because of the short time of the development of both projects and the complexity of the social process in both cases, both projects demanded a big group of people working on our office and then and in both cities. And my role was to coordinate the people working in Santiago and people and public organizations in both cities.
In both projects, I'm coordinated the way to communicate faster the idea. The main concept of the projects are simple. It's common sense in some way. People, community, or private companies, or the public institutions.
Each of these wood pieces that you see. It's 4 meter long, 120 kilograms, and each of the projects has been carved in the wood directly. In a way, it's not an easy task, but it's as difficult as the technical problem of going into this kind of disaster areas or the environmental challenge in the north. And we like to use difficulties and toughness as a filter against arbitrariness. Actually, the name elemental comes from those things that cannot be decomposed further. It's a principle of irreducibility. When you arrive to the innermost core of something, then you know that you have arrived to a very essential field and moment of knowledge and eventually of communication with society.